What's up guys, Ash here, welcome back to a brand new video. Now in today's video I have some tactics for my favourite wider formation in EAFC 24, this being the 4-3-3 fourth variation. Now the reason I like this formation so much is because for a wide formation it does give you a lot of attacking options. Now usually when you use a wider formation you're always limited to just going down the wing and crossing it, but with this one you just seem to have a lot more options. Sometimes you can still go through the middle. It just feels a bit more like a wide 4-2-3-1. I know there is a wide 4-2-3-1, but it feels like a better version of that, if that makes sense. So that's the reason I like this formation, and yeah, let's get right into it. If you guys want coins for FC24, make sure you check out MMOEXP.com. Their link is down in the description. They're very fast, they're very cheap, they're very reliable, and if you use my code Rema, you can get yourself a lovely 5% discount. Okay then guys, so starting off with the tactics for the 4-3-3, on the defensive style, we still like to have this on balance. Now the reason we have it on balanced is because it does give you the best control over your defense, so you can press your opponent when you want to, and then other times you can drop off and be a little bit more passive. Now we do something with pressure, but we'll get onto that in a moment. It's like a trade-off for not having pressure tactics on, so we're going to talk about that in a moment, and it is very important. Moving on to the width guys, we have this on 45. This is so we can defend nice and compact, but we still have good coverage of the wider areas in case an opponent tries to go down the wing. So we can defend in a nice narrow and compact shape, but at the same time we've still got decent width so we can cover those wider areas. Now moving on to the depth, this was the thing that I was on about. Now if you're on the new gen versions of the game, if you have your depth on 71, you get this automatic pressure from the AI. Now it's not just like a normal pressure, it's a very strong pressure. What this does is it limits your opponent's attacking AI, so they find it very difficult to attack. You basically break their attacking play completely. The AI will basically defend a lot for you and basically just press for you, and the added benefit of having this over the pressure tactics is that you don't really get a stamina drain either, so you have a lot of pressure going on in the game and you still maintain a lot of your players' stamina. So it's a very broken tactic, one that I hope gets fixed, but for now this is your best option in my opinion. Now moving on to the build-up play guys, I still like to have this on balanced. The reason I like to have this on balanced is because it does give you the best control over your build-up. So basically with balance you can pick and choose when and where you use each form of build-up. So if you want to play slowly you can do that, and then if you want to speed it up and play a little bit faster you can also do that. So it allows you to choose which build-up play you want to use and when. Moving on to chance creation guys, another very important tactic here, we have this on direct passing. Now direct passing is super useful because it makes your attackers move in the correct ways that the other settings do not. So when you have this on direct passing, your attacking players will make more versatile and dynamic runs, which basically allows you to create chances a lot easier. They also make those extra movements in the box so you can get off that extra pass, which makes it even stronger. Another thing about direct passing is your attacking players will like bunch up against the opposition defenders, meaning it's very easy to isolate a specific player and take him on to create a chance. So direct passing, very important. Now moving on to the width, because this is a slightly wider formation than I would normally use, I do have my width a little bit higher. I just have this 1/50, not really a specific number you need to use, but I don't want to commit the width to like a really high number because then I feel like my attack is way too wide and the distance between my players is too great, so I like to have it kind of balanced here. Moving on to the players in the box guys, I have this on 5. This is so we can get a few players into the box to finish off those chances of course, but we don't overcommit the entire team to the point where we're going to get counter-attacked if we lose out on possession. This is a preference thing though, and if you want to up it or lower it, that is completely up to you. As for corners and free kicks, this is another preference thing. I just like to have this on 2, so I can cross the ball into the box if I would like to, because there will be players in the box, but at the same time I can also play it short. So it does give me multiple options, which is why I like to have it on this. But yeah, that's it for the custom tactics. Let's move on to the instructions. Sorry to interrupt the video, guys, but I have noticed around 90% of you that watch the content are not subscribed. So if you are finding any of these videos helpful, please be sure to hit that subscribe button, as it does help me out massively. Also, don't forget to drop the video a like as well. And with all that aside, guys, let's get back to the video. Now, moving on to the player instructions, guys, a lot of them are pretty basic, but I'm going to talk you through them and why I use the instructions that I do. Feel free to tweak these if you're more comfortable with a certain playstyle, because it's best to use the instructions which suit you the best. Don't just try and force yourself to use specific instructions because me or somebody else has told you to. Use whatever is most comfortable for you. So starting off with the striker, I personally like to have him on stay central and mixed attack. I like to have him on stay central because he is my striker, so I don't want him drifting off into those wider areas. I've already got wingers to cover those positions. I don't need him drifting out wide. I need him to be in the middle. I need him to finish off my chances, so I always know where he is when I need him. Moving on to the attacking runs, I also have this on mixed attack because I feel like it's a lot more balanced and varied than getting behind. When you have this on mixed attack, your player will move a lot more authentically, a lot more dynamically. Sometimes he'll come short, other times he'll run in behind. I just feel like you get a lot more freedom when you have this player on mixed attack. That being said, if you're more of a getting behind person because that's your play style, you like lumping in through balls, that is also okay. So just use whatever pleases you. Moving on to both of the wingers, guys, I have them on comeback on defense, which is very important, cut inside and get into the box for cross. Now, comeback on defense is important because it will make this team defend with like 4 players in the midfield. So it's like a 4-4-1-1 or a 4-4-2 in certain situations. So these players on comeback on defense will come back to defend as a left mid and right mid, which will make your defense much better because you'll have good coverage of the narrow areas in your defense as well as the wide areas. Because if you look at this formation in its current state, with the wingers up top, you'll see there's a lot of space by both of the centre mids, and we don't want our opponent to have that space. So we want these wingers to come back when we're defending and fill in those gaps. We also have them on cut inside, so they do look to get a bit closer to the striker, so it is easier to create those chances. If you have them staying out wide all the time, can be a little bit ineffective in my opinion, because you always have to like spamming crosses. So I like to have them on the cut inside instruction, and when I want to pull them out wider, I can do that. I also have them on get into the box across, so they don't hesitate to get into the penalty area when the other winger is crossing, for example. So it just allows us to get more bodies in the box to finish off those chances. Now, moving on to the cam, guys, I actually just leave him alone. I don't touch him. I don't like to restrict this player. The cam is the most creative player in the team, so I don't really want to restrict him. I want to let him do his own thing and let him have the free role in the team, which is why I don't touch him. Some of you might want to put him on get into the box cross or even come back on defense, but it is completely up to you. Now, moving on to the left centre mid, this is like my more defensive-minded midfielder. I have him on stay back while attacking and cover centre. Now, we have him on stay back because, like I said, he's a more defensive-minded player. We don't want him flying forward. We want him to stay back and add that defensive security. And then we also have him on cover centre, so he does defend those central areas as opposed to covering the wings, because we don't need him to. Moving on to the right centre mid, I use a more box-to-box style player, so I like to leave him on the default settings and then have him on the cover centre instruction. Now, we leave him on the default settings because, like I said, he's a more box-to-box style player. We want him to attack and defend, so we don't want to restrict him to just defending or just attacking. We want him to do a bit of everything, so that's why we just leave him alone. The only important thing is that we have him on cover centre, so he does defend those attacks through the middle. Now, moving on to the fullbacks, on your more attacking-minded fullback, I suggest having him on balanced attack and overlap, or if you use like a wide winger, for example, you could put him on inverted, because then when the winger is out wide, this fullback will come into the narrow areas, so you've got players in the wide areas and the narrow areas. But in my case, because I have the winger on cut inside, I have this fullback on overlap. So when the winger goes inside, the fullback will overlap and go outside. So that is very useful. It's very useful to have one of your fullbacks doing that. And then on the other one, I just have him on stay back and overlap. This is so we always have at least 3 defenders back at a time. But when we want to send him forward on a run, he'll make those overlapping runs to add that extra width. As for the centre backs, guys, and the goalkeeper, I just leave him alone. And yeah, that's basically it. If you guys have enjoyed this video or found it useful, please be sure to drop it a like, sub to the channel if you are new so you never miss out on any of these videos, and don't forget to click that notification bell so you actually get notified when a a video is live. Otherwise, a lot of the time, YouTube just won't even let you know that I've posted. So yeah, that's basically it. Hope you have a great rest of your day, guys, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace out, guys.